Welcome to the Coach's Corner. Today we are focused on Life University, located in Marietta, Georgia, just northwest of Atlanta. Life is known for its strong emphasis on health sciences, especially chiropractic studies, what we refer to in the UK as osteopathy, and vibrant campus life, and it has over 2,700 students on site. Life University's men's rugby program is part of the Running Eagles athletics department and has a proud tradition of national level competition within the CRAA Division 1A collegiate rugby setup. They are currently ranked second in the nation. Today we are joined by Life's Director of Men's Rugby, Dr. Blake Bradford. Welcome, Coach Bradford.
Hey Melanie, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you with us today. Let's dive right in. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you found yourself at Life many years ago and again over the years?
Yeah, a funny story is that I actually attended Life University and played at Life University. I was grew up in South Africa, went to university in South Africa, University of Stellenbosch, finished my degree there, and then was recruited by Scott Lawrence, who's now the head coach and general manager for USA Rugby, to come over to Life and play rugby and study to become a doctor of chiropractic. And so yeah, my journey's been a long one at Life, and it started as a student athlete, and that's one of the special things for us is that all three of our coaches actually are graduates of Life University, and so that gives us a really good perspective of what the student athletes are going through and what the demands are for us to be successful there. So yeah, after graduating, I followed my wife to Michigan. Survived 1.5 winters up in Michigan. Before we moved back down to Georgia. While I was up in Michigan, practicing up there, I also started coaching. Started with Michigan State University, and kind of got my feet wet a little bit in the coaching world. And when I came back down to Georgia, the director of rugby, then Dan Payne, asked me to come coach the club team at Life University, which is our graduate side. And that's how I started my coaching career at Life back in 2015. And I've been involved in various roles at Life since then across both of our teams, our club team and our varsity team.
Great. Can you tell me a little bit more about the rugby program and your philosophy on coaching?
Yeah, so that like I said, we have two teams at Life. That's what makes us very unique. We have a varsity team which competes in D1A in under the Collegiate Rugby Association of America. So that team is our undergraduate team, similar to what most universities would have. But then we also have a club team that competes in the ARP, the American Rugby Premiership, which is a competition on the East Coast, which sits probably just under the MLR, so just beneath professional rugby. And that club team is made up of mostly graduate students. So students that are pursuing a degree in both of our Doctor of Chiropractic program or one of our master's degrees, or the third type of student probably be our non-traditional undergrads that don't have collegiate eligibility anymore. So that makes the program very unique, in the sense that we have two different teams and we have a pathway for our students to both pursue undergraduate degrees, but then also continue on and pursue graduate degrees, all while playing rugby as scholarship athletes, which is a really unique but also very special thing about Life University Rugby. As far as my philosophy goes, for me it's about the person as a whole. The reason that I coach and that I'm not still practicing chiropractic is that I have a real affinity for helping young men become better men through the sport of rugby. Rugby's opened up so many doors for me, and given me so many opportunities, and I'm that current steward of this program that has given so many people opportunities. So for me, it's about how they develop not just as rugby players but as students, but also how they develop as young men and how they kind of grow through their time. So we take a very player driven approach to our coaching. It's all about development of the individual, and if we keep developing good men, we see success on the rugby field as well.
Great. Now, from a tactical perspective, Could you talk a little bit about the unique structure of how the terms run at Life and when your players report to school and then eventually what a typical week looks like?
Yeah, of course. So, unlike some other universities, we run in a quarter system. So our start of the academic year is the fall quarter or autumn, and that typically starts in end of September, beginning of October. So that's the start of the academic year. But since we run on a quarter system, though, it gives us the flexibility for students to start any quarter. So they can start fall, winter, spring, or summer. In fact, because our players are reporting to campus beginning of August, our season in the Rugby East Conference starts in September and then runs through October and November. Our season technically starts before classes start or the fall quarter starts. So our players report to campus typically at beginning of August, and then our international students, the ones that have finished high school, whether it be December of the previous year or early in the year, we typically encourage them to start in the summer quarter, so in middle of July, and that gives them the opportunity to come in and get acclimated to college, especially since it's a new country and a new environment for them to get used to. And then that way, when the preseason starts and the season starts, they're up and running and they knows the ins and outs of going to class. And some of that's driven by student visas. Obviously, you can only come in to the country a month before classes start, and so since our season is kind of in this awkward part where it starts before the season starts, our athletes tend to come in, international ones in the summer.
Great. That's really helpful to know. It is a little bit different. And when you take a look at the website, trying to match it up with the way a lot of other universities work can be a little bit confusing. So thank you for explaining that.
No
Can you
problem.
tell me about your international players and their role on the team?
Yeah, so since we are a small private university, we are enrollment driven, and so we're not your stereotypical big university in the United States, and so we tend to have a lot more international students than some of the more traditional universities would have. Th Those players bring a unique aspect to our team in terms of they bring different cultures, they bring different experiences, but they also bring a lot of those players have played rugby since they were 5, 6 years old, where a lot of our American players maybe didn't start up until later in high school. So we have a really good blend of both international students and domestic students. And our international students, do very well at life. They tend to do very well academically and they tend to excel on the field as well. And it opens doors for many of them to continue on their careers with the experience that they pick up at life. So we welcome international students. It's always been a part of life. But I wear two hats, and I don't just coach at Life University. I also coach with the USA national team, and so there's an important obligation there to continue to develop US talent as well. And so we do put a big emphasis on looking to find our top American players as well. And so it gives us a really unique team, and it gives us a really unique blend of both domestic and international players.
Thank you. And could you talk a little bit about scholarships at Life, both for academic merit and rugby?
Yeah, so we offer athletic scholarships. So you get scholarship for joining and playing on the rugby team. They're merit based, so they're at my discretion. So typically I evaluate the players with my coaching staff and look to see where they're at from both a rugby perspective, what their potential looks like in terms of their development, how to perform academically, but also more importantly, are they a good fit for our program? Are they the type of player that we want to have in our environment? And so we do give merit-based scholarships, which includes both tuition and fee scholarships and housing scholarships. And then the university also offers a wide range of additional scholarships that student athletes can apply for as well. The ones I have control over is the athletic ones, and that typically, like I said, is my discretion. So after I have a conversation with a player, we've evaluated their film, then we'll make them an offer to come over to Life.
Super. And does that apply to both domestic and international
Yes,
recruits?
it does. It does.
Okay. Speaking of recruiting, what do you look for in a top recruit? And then on the other hand, what would you consider a red flag when are meeting recruits?
Yeah, so funny enough, I was out on Saturday as my first weekend off, not um, coaching rugby, and my kids at a rugby weekend because it's the start of the youth season. So I was out at the fields watching and talking about red flags. Like one of the things, as I was watching these high school kids, compete, a big red flag to me is the way that they speak to their teammates and the way that they speak to their coaches. Like that's something that I look at first and foremost is like how are they communicating and how are they communicating when people aren't watching. So that's a big red flag for us in terms of student athletes that we wouldn't want in our programs is one that aren't respectful to their peers and they aren't respectful to their coaches. As far as what we look for, obviously we got to evaluate talent, and so we're looking for good rugby players, but at the same time, our philosophy is our player development drives performance. So we're also, very content to find student athletes that we feel like have a lot of potential that we can develop over a year or two, and hopefully then compete for our varsity team in year 3 and 4. So as far as rugby abilities go, like we have a wide range of players that come in, players that are ready to compete for our varsity team day one, but also players that we see potential in that might develop over a year or two. Our student athletes have to meet our academic standards. Like when they choose to come to life, they're choosing to play rugby at an academic institution, and so we put a big emphasis on the academic piece as well, and that's important for us. And then the third one is just is the type of person that they are. Do they fit our values? Do we feel like there's someone that can come and add value both on and off the rugby field? And that's the harder thing to determine, especially if you're doing it over Zoom calls and phone calls and things like that. But it's certainly something that's important to us. And we take a lot of time to talk to their coaches and see what type of person they are as well. And we take a very holistic approach around our player development and so the type of person is just as important as the type of rugby player that they are and how good of a student they are.
So do you find that letters of recommendation from coaches are helpful? And what kind of film do you want people to submit? Do you want highlights? Do you want full games?
Yeah, I think letters of recommendation from coaches are always big in my opinion. And putting your coaches as references on your application as well, so we can have a conversation with them if we choose to. That's always big. As far as the footage goes, showing us a snapshot of who you are, and a lot of the film should be positional based. Like, what are the key attributes to your position? So it has to have you carrying the ball and making tackles, and you're passing, kicking if you're a back, and set piece if you're a forward. So we want to see all the things that you have to do in your position in terms of your positional requirements. But it's also always really good to add in a full game because that allows us to watch you off the ball as well. Like what are you doing when you don't have the ball, and how are you working off the ball, and what does your work rate look like, um, you know, in a game? And there's a lot of intangibles in terms of what makes a really good rugby player, and so we want to see those things as well.
So once your boys are at school and training has begun, what does a training week look like? When do you train? When do you lift? When do you travel? How does that all play out?
Yeah, so a typical week in season would probably look as follows. Monday mornings would be our reviews. So we'd come in, we would review the game from the previous week, and then we'd also have a gym session. So Mondays are all about reviewing. We'll have a gym session, and we'll have a an install session on the field. It's a very light session. Typically Mondays are a little bit easier than the other days. Then we'll also train on Tuesday and Thursday. Same thing, gym in the mornings and then team trainings in the afternoon on both Tuesday and Thursday. And then Fridays are dependent on whether we play home or away. So for playing at home, we'll have a team run or a captain's run on a Friday as well. If we're traveling, that's typically our travel day is leaving on a Friday morning, and then we'll look to do some sort of team session when we get to where we're going. and then we play on Saturdays and we come back home in terms of travel. The way that we've built our week is I've been very fortunate to be around some professional environments through coaching and also had the privilege of getting to visit quite a few professional teams. So we've looked to build a training week that simulates a professional environment. So we take a lot of pride in our daily training environment, and we've built it around what the professionals would do, because for us, getting our players ready for the next level is something that's very important, but we have to also build it around the academic side of things. And so we've built it in a way where from 9 to 3 our players are taking care of academics, whether it's class, whether it's study hall, doing assignments or group work, whether it's getting their treatments in with the trainer, things like that. So they get to do what they need to do from 9 to 3. Our morning lifts are before 9, and our team trainings are at 3. So we kind of give them that academic work day in the middle of the day, and that allows them also to switch off after practice, and allows them to enjoy the social side of being a student athlete as well, and go have dinner together, and just reflect on the day, and do all the things that college kids would do. So it gives us a very holistic approach in terms of how we want to approach the week. So we want to be very professional, and we want to get the most out of them, but also we want to teach them schedule and time management and all the things that are going to be important for them when they go into the professional world as well.
Thank you. Now, I've spoken with Coach Chadwick in the past, but for those who haven't seen his interview, could you give us a little introduction to women's rugby at Life?
Yeah, no, I have a lot of respect for Coach Chatwick. We work together very closely. We've also coached together at Rugby ATL before, so it's really great having another quality coach like himself just a couple doors down from my office, where we can bounce ideas off of each other and be a sounding board for each other. So we're very similar in a lot of ways, but we're also very different in terms of how we coach and approach things. He runs a high quality program. It is by far the best pathway for women's players that want to compete at the international level, professional level. In terms of how he's built it, he's just added a club team to give them more opportunities to compete. So he's got one team competing in the college game. He's got one team competing in the varsity or the club side of things. So he's built a real clear pathway for these young student athletes to go from high school all the way through to the professional and the international level. He's got numerous players that have been invited to the U20s winter camp that's happening in over the break, and he's got players in the sevens pathway. Currently, Life has three women's player that's competing for Team USA in the sevens circuit as well. And so he's done a phenomenal job to build a really good pathway for these young girls to come in and develop as rugby players, but also he shares similar values that to us in terms of the student athlete experience and how they develop during their time there at Life as well.
Super. Now, Life is quite famous for being a chiropractic school, but are there other majors that you can study when you're there?
Yeah, so there's, we've started as a chiropractic university or chiropractic college. That's our flagship program. We're still the largest single campus chiropractic university in the world. It's a phenomenal program. A lot of our student athlete come in as undergraduate students, and then they continue on into the chiropractic program and becoming chiropractors. That'll always be part of who we are. That's where our team started. It started with our chiropractic team back in 1980. That's where our program started. But the university has evolved quite a bit. We like you said, we are a health sciences university in the sense that we have a really good exercise science program, really good psychology program, nutrition. Universities put a lot of emphasis in developing those programs, but they've also done a lot in terms of developing our business program, as well as our computer science program. So a lot of our student athletes do business administration degrees, as well as the computer information science degrees, and we've just added an MBA as well. So that gives our student athletes that opportunity to continue on when they graduate and get a master's degree as well. We also have a master's in positive psychology degree, which is we're one of the few universities that has that, and that's an amazing program that a lot of our athletes have done post graduation as well. But yeah, so the university is constantly investing in evolving our programs, and the nice thing about our programs is that because we're a smaller university, the student to faculty ratio is about 20 to 1. And so you're getting a very personalized experience. Many of the faculty members are expert in their field, and they're coming and bringing in real world experience into your education. So there's a lot of hands-on in terms of your education. The professors know exactly who you are, and quite honestly, like, I know when they're not going to class and when they're not showing up and they're not paying attention because I have that relationship with a lot of our professors. So it really gives off this community feel. But yeah, the university's evolved, and we got about 14 different degrees from an undergraduate perspective, biology, nutrition, you name it. A lot of them, like you said, is kind of founded in the health sciences side, but we've also done a really good job of evolving some of our other degrees as well. So there's options. If you want to come to Life and you're interested in Life University is from a rugby perspective, there's many academic programs that'll kind of meet your requirements.
Super, that's really helpful. Beyond rugby and beyond academics, what do you think are the best things about life at Life?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on it already. It's the community. We're a small campus. We're in Marietta, Georgia, so we're just north of Atlanta. We're outside the perimeter, as they say down here. And it's a small campus. It's got about 110 acres of wooded area as well. So we've got 5 miles of hiking trails. So it's a beautiful campus. It's kind of tucked away, and so it's very private, and it gives us that real community feel. There's a lot of stuff that happens on campus, over 70 different, student organizations and clubs, which is a lot for a small university. And the dorms are state of the art. They're amazing, and the events that are on campus are vast in terms of allowing our student athletes to experience other parts outside of class and athletics. So, we currently have the Lights of Life going on, which is Christmas lights all over campus, and we have people all around the area coming to look at our Christmas lights, which gets more people on our campus, and it's a great way for us to show people where Life University is and what we're all about. But I'd say the biggest thing is the community part. It really is a family.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful. It's great to see the picture that you painted of life at Life and the rugby program and academics. It's very helpful. Thank you. Um, I know that and this is my last question, I know that you've just wrapped up the fall campaign for rugby. What happens in the spring?
Yeah, so we've played our conference games, and we had an unfortunate loss to Navy, why we finished both second in our conference. But you can see the strength of our conference. So despite finishing second in the Rugby East, we're still ranked second in the country, and that's just testament to the strength of the conference that we played in. So we've wrapped up the Rugby East. We played a bowl game at the Fall Classic. Played against UBC, University of British Columbia from Canada, which was a great experience for our players. Now we're taking a bit of a break, so the guys are finishing up exams, and they're on an off-season program, so they've got to get bigger, stronger, and faster over the next couple of weeks, and then we'll start back up when the winter quarter starts, second week in January, and we'll then ramp up to four non-conference games. We'll play Lindenwood University, Arkansas State. We'll play Davenport and St. Thomas University. So we used to be in a conference with a lot of those teams in the Mid-South, and so we've continued those rivalries. So we'll play those games. They'll all have ranking implications, and then towards the end of March, we'll then hopefully transition into the playoffs. Where last season we made it all the way to the national championship game, and unfortunately we fell short against a very strong Cal Berkeley team. So our goal this year is to go +1. We want to always compete for national championships, but it's been a minute since we've won one. So we'd love to go one more and go finish the thing this year.
Well, good luck to you on that. Do you also play sevens?
Yeah, so we there hasn't been on the men's side, there hasn't been a sevens championship over the last 3 years. But we do have since we have our club team as well, what we've done is we've created an opportunity for our players to play sevens through the summer. So with our varsity and club guys being on campus and a lot of them taking summer classes, they have the opportunity to compete in the club sevens throughout the summer as well. That kind of builds up to the club championships as well. So until sevens comes back on the collegiate side, we've created a pathway for our players to be able to play sevens as well.
Fantastic. And that's a little bit unique too. A lot of times the sevens tournaments that colleges play in are in the spring, but with your quarterly system, you can really take advantage of year-long rugby.
Yes, absolutely. It's how much do they want to play is always the question, right? And of course we got to take, player welfare and load manage into account there. So our director of athlete performance does a good job in t terms of who can play sevens, who's got to hit the gym over the summer. But yeah, we do offer them the opportunity to be able to play rugby as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your program with us today and giving us your time. And I wish you all the best in the spring and those matches and old rivalries that you have coming up.
Thanks, Melanie. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet.